NBA executives have voiced out their opinions on what the Brooklyn Nets should do with Cam Thomas, and there are certainly some juicy takes to dive into. We'll talk about that and much more right here on the show. Hello, everyone, and welcome in to the Brooklyn Boys Show. Connor Long, Josh Woolever right here with you guys on the show. An in-person edition of the show. Appreciate you all joining us right here on this Thursday evening, July 31st, 2025. Make sure you smash that like button and hit subscribe on your way into the building. It's completely free, and it helps us grow significantly right here on the channel. Questions, comments, thoughts, throw all of those in the chat. We appreciate all your kind words. We appreciate all of the support right here from you guys on the show. Josh, a lot to dive into today, a lot of interesting comments that stemmed from NBA executives in a survey generated by a friend of the show, the great Fred Katz, who does great work for The Athletic. He did a great job conducting this survey, and so certainly some interesting takes to dive into.
Absolutely. Excited for an in-person episode. Thank you for having me over, and we'll pick up right where we left off with the juicy contract talks of Cam Thomas, and you mentioned a great survey for Mr. Katz over there at The Athletic. Excited to dive into that.
Absolutely. So I want to start with the first comment that caught my eye in this article, something that kind of confirms to an extent what a lot of Nets fans have viewed as Cam Thomas's value. One NBA executive says right here again, this survey stems right from Fred Katz of The Athletic. Find it at theathletic.com. Such great work over there. Fred's doing this for every single restricted free agent, I believe, the notable ones, that being Josh Giddey, Quentin Grimes, Jonathan Kuminga, and then obviously Cam Thomas. Right here, he said another respondent, quote, deemed a 2-year, $32 million contract for Thomas fair, but provided a caveat, quote, I wouldn't be shocked if this was way higher or lower. He said his scoring is very much, quote, the eye of the beholder. Certainly an interesting comment here from an executive, Josh. I think it's pretty much clear that Cam Thomas, you sign him, you pay him because of his scoring ability and his ability to get a bucket from wherever on the floor.
Absolutely. This is such an interesting comment because I agree with whoever this executive is that this contract can range any number of different ways depending on how you look at Cam Thomas as an overall player, whether you're looking at the value he does bring, whether you're looking at the value he doesn't bring, and which one of those sort of overrides the other. So I think this executive is right in saying that there is no one direction that this deal can go. This can go in a multitude of ways. There's a wide variety, a wide range of ways this deal can go. But 2 years, $32 million seems pretty fair, but that's kind of on that lower end where Cam Thomas already said no to the Brooklyn Nets earlier in this offseason.
I think that's more than fair. The deal that we saw reported from Jake Fisher of the Steinline, the People's Insider, said the Nets offered Cam Thomas a 2-year, $28 million deal, and he was in disgust. He was insulted by that offer. He's looking at $30 million a year. Whether he likes it or not, I think this executive makes a great point here, as you did point out, no pun intended. I think this is Cam Thomas's value, whether he likes it or not, especially in a free agency class a restricted free agency class, especially where there hasn't been much movement, a restricted free agency class where players aren't getting the money that they initially expected. I think this is more than fair.
Absolutely. And you're right. $32 million seems fair for a guy like Thomas. Pretty one-dimensional piece. Looking to take that next step in his 5th year in the league. I think he's entering now.
Fourth
year. Fourth year, because he's still got 1 year left if they don't reach agreements.
No, he's on his he's entered free agency right now. He's a restricted free agent though, because they tendered his qualifying offer. So he could technically land anywhere this offseason, but since he's a restricted free agent, the Nets have the ability to match any offer that he ultimately does receive this offseason. But again, it continues to show that the Nets and Cam Thomas are ultimately far off on a deal. But that was the first take that I wanted to dive into from this article right here on Fred Katz of The Athletic, who polled 16, I believe it was, NBA executives on what the team should do, what the Brooklyn Nets should do with Cam Thomas and how he is viewed around the league. The next comment that I want to dive into is certainly this executive has way higher expectations, values Cam Thomas a lot more than the executive who believes Cam Thomas should land a 2-year, $32 million contract. This comes from an executive who suggested a 2-year deal, but with a team option on the second season. That one was worth $20 million a year. 7 other respondents also suggested 2 years deals. 2 contracts were for $20 million total. One was for $28 million. One was for $29.3 million. The exact value of the mid-level exception was for $30 million. One was for $32 million, and one was for $50 million. That's one that Cam Thomas would like. However, Fred Katz follows it up by saying, but that $50 million contract came with an asterisk. Not all of it was guaranteed. The first year pays Thomas $25 million. The second is guaranteed for only $5 million. So Thomas receives either $30 million for 1 year of service or $50 million for 2, handing him a Poseidon expiring contract for the upcoming season or a definitive expiring deal for the next one. A bloated 1 year payment, this executive argued, could be enough to sway Thomas against picking up the qualifying offer, which would pay him $6 million in 2025-2026, but allow him to hit unrestricted free agency next summer. With this new CBA, you see all these new terms being floated around. Obviously, the aprons come into play a lot much more. You see mid-level exceptions now becoming an impact on a lot of these deals. $50 million, I think, is a reach for Cam Thomas. I'm kind of in the general boat with a lot of these executives. The $20 to $29 million range, I think, is fair for a multi-year deal. Overall, obviously, I'm talking salary here for Cam Thomas. I think $50 million, and I think Fred did a great job here breaking down the details of what that contract would entail. I don't know if I want to hand $50 million over 2 years to a pure scorer.
Yeah, that's a very steep price considering Sean Marks in his initial offer, or what we heard, gave him less than 30, and I think that is way too much for the Nets to jump from a place where they weren't even willing to give him $30 million to jump up all the way to 50, albeit not all of it's guaranteed. But yeah, I think no way that the point where this Nets team is at, the point where Cam Thomas is at, unfollowed the team on social media or moved a lot of this post. Seems like these contractual negotiations have not go well. I would be beyond shocked if the Nets were willing to hike all the way up to that $50 million range.
Well, the team being unfollowed, I think, is more of a negotiation tactic. Obviously, I think this relationship between the Nets and Cam Thomas is strained ultimately. However, I don't know if him unfollowing the team on social media will be the ultimatum, if you will, of whether he comes back or not. I just pretty much overall view that as a negotiation tactic. When you get to these overall results, though, of this poll from The Athletic's Fred Katz to league executives, this is what I want to point out. These are the overall results here. He says, quote, 3 respondents submitted 4-year contracts, one for $50 million, one for $60 million, and one for $80 million. In the end, 8 of the 16 participants in the poll suggested 3+ year contract for Thomas. For perspective, 15 of the 16 proposed deals have at least 3 years for each of Kuminga, Giddey, and Quentin Grimes, that being who spent last season with the Philadelphia 76ers. Quote, the teams clearly don't feel like the player or current market dictate longer deals at higher dollars. One executive who proposed the short-term deal said, if I'm the player or agent, then give me the ability to get out a little early, retain my bird rights, and make in at least respectable salary that I can sell myself on taking. Thoughts there on the overall results of this poll here, Josh?
Yeah, it's not shocking that a lot of these executives, more than half, are suggesting shorter term deals. When you think about it, it makes sense for both perspectives. A guy like Cam Thomas gets 2 years to prove his worth, and then at the end of that contract, he is close, if not at the peak of his prime, willing to make top dollar in this league. And then from the net side of things, you're right. They don't want to commit to a pure scorer that long term, give them that guaranteed money. And then if it doesn't end up working out like they originally imagined, they're stuck in a sticky situation, which we've seen time and time over again. So it kind of makes sense that the executives are thinking shorter term deals. On the other hand, a couple other the restricted free agents are getting those long-term deals from teams that truly believe in them more than it seems like Sean Marks does.
Overall, which contract do you think the Nets should run with when it comes to Cam Thomas among these floated out by league executives?
Yeah, one of those 2 to 3 years, I would say. Low 30s is what I would be willing to give him. I know you're more
over 3 years.
Or 2 years. Over 3 years, it would have to be a little higher, else he wouldn't agree to the deal. But I know you're more of a 15 to 20-ish kind of guy a year. I'm willing to give him that low 20s value, but I don't think you are you?
Well, what do you mean?
Like 15 to 20 million AAV for you? I would be willing to give him low 20s.
Cam Thomas, 2 years, $40 million, I think would be way too high. I don't think that's and this team has enough cap room, so if push comes to shove, they could really give him that if they wanted to. Like, they're not in a cap crunch where they can only pay him X amount of money, but I don't think Cam Thomas is worth $40 million.
Yeah, we've gone over this discussion a lot, but when you look at the Nets' perspective of things and they don't have a true scorer, I'll go back to it again. That
how much is a true scorer worth, though, in the NBA? I mean, when you look at what these true scorers get paid, you can compare that pretty much to Jordan Clarkson, his salary. That's very low if you want to just view Cam Thomas as a pure scorer. So I don't know how high that price is overall.
I just think he has high expectations for himself. So anything below 20, I mean, you talked about it a little bit on some previous shows, might feel a little insulting to him.
Well, he feels insulted.
For sure.
I think at the going market, the going asking price in the grand scheme of things, I don't think it's the craziest deal in the world.
Yeah.
Appreciate you all tuning in right here on the Brooklyn Boys Show. Make sure you smash that like button and hit subscribe. Connor Long, Josh Woolever right here with you guys on the show, breaking down Fred Katz's survey to 16 league executives where executives voiced out their thoughts on what the Nets should do with Cam Thomas, what a contract extension would look like, and things of that nature, breaking that down right here on the show. So make sure you smash the like button and hit subscribe. It's completely free and it helps us grow significantly right here on the show. Daily Nets content on this channel, so stay tuned for that. Keep supporting us. We appreciate it. Appreciate all the kind words. Appreciate all your support as always. Questions, comments, thoughts, throw those in the chat. We're going to get to those shortly. Appreciate all of your support as always. Josh, we've spoke about how jam-packed truly this Nets roster is, despite not having a ton of proven NBA talent. You have 5 rookies, obviously. You have Nick Claxton. You have Cam Thomas, Derek White, all these different roster locks. Are you pinpointing any veteran who was on the team last year whose roster spot might be in jeopardy?
Yeah, I mean, I would have said Drew Timme before the summer league. Let's see how he plays in the preseason. I'm not fully sure what his role looks like on this team, but Keon Johnson could be one. Like, it really depends on what the Nets view his role to be. Like, there is no solidified, concrete way Keon Johnson makes a true impact on this team. So I think it'll be a play it by ear situation with him. Maybe he starts up at the NBA level, but then gets dropped down to Long Island quickly if the Nets see that not working out and they have someone that they can feel fits this roster better.
Keon Johnson's certainly an interesting one because he's someone that Jordi Fernandez has obviously expressed his love and appreciation for, someone who he ultimately trusted on the floor. So he's certainly going to be an interesting player to watch, see what the Nets do with him. Drew Timme's another intriguing guy because he showed a lot during the summer league, but how many power forwards and centers can the Nets truly carry on this team? You obviously have Noah Clowney, a first-round pick from just a few years ago. Nick Claxton's going to be on this team, whether fans like it or not. You drafted Danny Wolf relatively high. You used a first-round pick on Danny Wolf in this year's NBA draft. You have Day'Ron Sharpe, who you just extended. So how many big men can you truly carry on this team? I think that's a question that the Nets are going to have to ask themselves, and I think that's something that's going to play a pivotal role on ultimately how this roster is being shaped. We saw the preseason schedule come out. The Nets have three or four preseason games this year, so not that many preseason games, and the preseason is always an interesting stage just based on how much stock people put into it. I primarily put more stock into the summer league and focus on more players than I do in the preseason and watching veterans get back in the swing of things because I don't think there's, as much of a high ceiling with a lot of these players in the preseason. Josh, how much stock are you putting into the preseason here?
Yeah, I mean, not a ton. There's always some learning lessons you can take and some good examples you can catch up along the way. But I think, by no means is it a way to go in and overreact as soon as we see one bad game. Happened with the summer league. Nets only won one game there, so a couple Nets fans were overreacting a little bit. But I think in the summer league, you just take it time by time. You see how the individuals are playing. It's less about the final score. It's more about the effort guys are showing and what they can bring to you on the actual floor rather than the box score.
You mentioned Keon Johnson and Drew Timme there, the two guys you didn't mention whose team options the Nets picked up this offseason. Tyrese Martin, Jalen Wilson. Jalen Wilson, a second-round pick from a few years ago. Tyrese Martin, someone who emerged last season as a three-point threat, kind of a 3-and-D type guy, for this team. Do you think those guys have to earn roster spots? How are you perceiving their status on this team as we continue to inch closer to the start of the season.
Absolutely. I think everyone's got to earn a roster spot this year. It's almost like a bottleneck if you get into a traffic jam. The Nets have so many possible guys that they can roster on this team after you take 5 rookies, after you pick up 4 team options. Obviously, you have the carryover from last year. So there's just not a lot of available room on this roster. I think Jalen Wilson and Tyrese Martin, 2 guys that could make a big impact at the NBA level, but I think absolutely you're going to have to earn their roster spots.
Anyone else you're looking at who you think needs to truly earn a spot or rotational minutes throughout the preseason?
I mean, those are the main couple guys, the couple-year vets in the league that they're going to be rounding out the bench and getting Jordy Fernandez some quality minutes. Not in the starting lineup, but I don't think so. I don't think I have a huge name out there.
Drew Timme, Josh, is he on this team's roster come game 1 of the NBA regular season?
I think so. I think he showed me enough in those last 10 or so games. I know they weren't playing for anything, but he got that call up from Long Island, and he played really well. I think he plays well enough in the preseason to earn his way back onto this roster coming off the bench.
How do you think Brooklyn's going to determine who lands this final 2-way deal?
Yeah, I think it's going to be tough. It's going to be a lot about effort, which is something Jordy Fernandez put a ton of stock and put a stressed and emphasized all throughout his first season at the NBA level. I think he did a good job of taking over a kind of struggling in between, not so consistent locker room, taking over as Nets head coach after Jacques Vaughn. But I think he turned it around really well, and he's looking for someone on a 2-way deal who can, bring him some effort on the court, be scrappy, diving for loose balls all over the place, and someone who can just, give you a couple minutes when you need him off the bench.
Speaking of 2-way deals, Tyson Etienne, one of the 2 players the Nets officially have locked up on a 2-way contract. What can we expect out of him this year after what was, a rocky 7 games in Brooklyn last season?
Yeah, you're right. He didn't show much. I honestly think it's going to be a struggle for Etienne to find his way onto the court this year, just considering how the Nets approach this offseason. It feels like they wanted a lot of new guys to get minutes on this team. It feels like there's a lot of options for the Nets outside of Etienne. So I think he's really going to have to earn his way onto the court. I actually don't see him playing as much as some people think.
Do you expect him? How many games? Over under, we'll say 12 games does he spend in Brooklyn this season?
Maybe over, because I think he could definitely get some run towards the end of the season, assuming this team isn't making a playoff push, isn't making a play-in tournament push. I just think that this roster is so wide open to the fact where anyone on a 2-way contract, anyone that the Nets want to see what their future looks like in Brooklyn, I think the floor is open for them to get at least some sort of run time in Brooklyn. So I would say over 12 games. How much of an impact will he make in those 12? That's to be determined. But I think he could play a couple.
Appreciate you all tuning in. Smash the like button, hit subscribe. Josh Woolever, Connor Long, right here with you guys on the Brooklyn Boys Show. Appreciate you all tuning in. Questions, comments, thoughts, throw those in the chat. We're going to get to those shortly. Appreciate all of your support as always. Keep loading up all of your takes in the comment section. Let's dive into those. Appreciate your support as always. Gary's in the chat. Shout out to you, Gary. Appreciate you tuning in right here on the show. Timothy says, nice hat, Josh.
Thank you.
Screw the Yankees.
It's a New York or nowhere hat. They had a great trade deadline, Timothy. So excited to see what the second half brings, especially when Judge is back healthy. I know you're a Mets fan.
Yeah, World Series contenders, baby. Best team in New York. Hitting the World Series. Carlos Correa is back.
On that one.
Carlos Correa is back to the Astros, so back to whining every single year when you guys lose to the Astros over cheating or whatever what's going to be the new thing now that the garbage can saga was debunked. What's going to be the new excuse now?
I don't know.
Yankee fans love excuses.
I mean, it's our favorite thing to do. It's World Series or bust every year. You know it.
Back to haven't won one of those since 2009. Yet 27 is preached all the time.
How much? When was the last time the Mets won the mid-80s?
I don't talk about World Series all the time. You guys say 27 World Series. You weren't even alive to see one of them.
You're right. It's hard to argue with that. That's a fact. Just need a good second half. I mean, they made it. They were 3 wins away from it last year, so can't exactly hate how last season played out. I think they're going to get a couple key pieces back here from the injury. Obviously, Judge, AL Rookie of the Year last year. Luis Heels had to make his first start of the year later this week, so that should all be exciting. Couple bullpen pieces via trade. Couple bullpen pieces making some rehab starts in the minors. So hopefully, when all the pieces slip back together, this team makes a good September run.
Anthony, 4 years, $80 million is a good deal for Cam Thomas. For Cam Thomas, not for the Nets, though.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure his agency would love that. I just don't think either side wants to play the 4-year game, wants to play the lock him up long term. I don't think that's beneficial either way.
Yeah, this is certainly an interesting situation with Cam Thomas here on how the Nets assess it. Obviously, everyone has so many different viewpoints. I think 4 years, $80 million for Cam Thomas is a little high based on what he's shown. I put his value in the $15-20 million range. What would you prefer? 2 years, $40 million, or 4 years, $80 million?
I would probably go 2 years, 40. I don't feel compelled to lock this guy up long term. You're right when you mentioned that when in the 2022 Nets team, obviously you had scorers in front of him. Like, what can he do on a true winning team? Obviously, last season wasn't the year to prove that. He was out most of the time. Nets team wasn't winning. Obviously, this season, I don't think either of us expect this team to be heavy contenders in the East. So that is yet to be proven. So I think a 2-year deal, not to prove it because he's proven enough to me, but continue to build on what you've already done.
Give me a 2-year, $25 million deal with a player option, team option, one of those options for the third season. That's where I begin talking. Like, there's no point, honestly, in rolling out Cam Thomas on the qualifying offer. At that point, you just milk everything you can out of him and then try to deal him for capital at the trade deadline because, once he hits restricted free agency, he's not coming back to this team. Obviously, you'd understand the relationship is too strained for him to, truly come back. And I don't know if that's something he'd want to deal with. Give me 2 years with an option for the third year. That's what I'm looking at right now for Cam Thomas. Rashad comes in and says maybe if he got a player option, he should take it. But the Nets and the fan base don't appreciate the skill set this man has. It is sad.
I mean, he has a skill set, absolutely, as a great ISO scorer and as a bucket getter. I think he has the tools to be the number one option on this Nets team. But he's got to go out there and prove it for a winning team. But obviously that's not now. So for now, I hope the Nets re-sign him. I hope they give him that offer that he can agree to. He can stay to Brooklyn a couple more years.
Agreed with that. I love Cam Thomas. I'm a Cam Thomas fan. I'm just airing out my points of what I think he's worth, what I think he's ultimately going to be. Like, if he could turn into a guy who gets you 4 or 5 assists a game, my value on him, the way I view him, would overall go up significantly. I just think the fact that he's a one-dimensional player hurts him right out of the gate from when it comes to how much he's going to get paid per year, how much, teams are going to value him, and executives and coaches are going to value him around the league. So it's certainly to his disadvantage right out of the gate. Follows that up by saying, same disrespect the Nets fan base have for Nick Claxton. Hopefully Cam gets his money later, guys. Rashad, appreciate you joining us right here on the show. Nick Claxton, I love Nick Claxton entering last season, what he did between the attitude issues, getting ejected, taking a huge decline defensively, he lost a lot of the fan base, Josh.
Yeah, I mean, the defensive metrics that, earned him what he basically got paid to stay in Brooklyn for 4 more years. He had a sharp decline last year, so hoping he can pick that back up. But I think no doubt if Sean Marks, despite the fact that he loves him so much, I think outside of it being Sean Marks, the GM, I think if you pull Nets fans across the fan base, they'd be more than happy to deal Nick Claxton right now. They don't want to see that decline continue, but we all know Sean Marks loves Nick Claxton, so I doubt he's going anywhere.
Gillatz comes in and says Cam Thomas deserves $50 million a year.
Timeout.
Same as Damian Lillard. Cam Thomas is nowhere near as efficient as a shooter as Damian Lillard. He hasn't established himself in the league as long as Damian Lillard. He's not as great as a playmaker as Damian Lillard is. Maybe Cam Thomas is starting to average 5 assists a game. He's in the league for a few more years. Shoots the 3 ball at a 40% clip. Then you could start creeping in that territory, but nowhere near that as we stand.
Yeah, this guy's second contract isn't going to be $50 million annually. That would be crazy.
Appreciate you all tuning in. Smash the like button. Hit subscribe. He's Josh Woolever. I'm Connor Long right here with you guys on the Brooklyn Boys Show. Keep all your questions, comments, thoughts coming in the chat. We're going to get to those. Appreciate your support. Like I said, smash that like button, hit subscribe. Quick break, a word from our sponsors, and after that, we'll be joined by a very special guest right here on the show. He's Josh Woolever. I'm Connor Long, right here with you guys on the Brooklyn Boys Show. Stay tuned, Nets fans.
You are listening to the Brooklyn Boys Show with your host, Connor Long. If you're enjoying the show, drop us a sub and leave a like. It helps more Nets fans find us. Quick break, then back to talking Brooklyn Nets basketball.
Today's episode of the Brooklyn Boys Show is brought to you by our presenting sponsor, Shoreline Sports Cards, located at 137 Main Street in Port Washington, New York. Whether you're chasing the newest hobby boxes, grabbing singles, or just want to talk cards with fellow collectors, Shoreline is the spot. They've got a massive selection across basketball, football, baseball, and more with new inventory hitting the shelves every single week. If you're local, make sure to stop by the shop at 137 Main Street in Port Washington and check it out for yourself. If you're not in the area, no worries at all. You can still keep up with Shoreline by following them on Instagram, eBay, and whatnot for product drops, live breaks, deals, and hobby updates. All links are right in the description down below. Huge thanks to Shoreline Sports Cards for supporting the show and the Brooklyn Nets community. It is the Brooklyn Boys Show, streaming live right here on YouTube and Twitter. Appreciate you all joining us right here on the show. Keep throwing all your takes. Keep throwing all your comments, your thoughts in the chat. We're going to continuously get to those. Smash the like button, hit subscribe. But now we are joined by a special guest, the host of the BK Nothing But Nets podcast, the great Gary, gracing us with his presence right here on the show. Gary, how are we doing, my friend?
I'm good. And Josh, it's good to have you back, my man.
What's up, Gary? Appreciate it. Missed you. Missed talking Nets.
This kid again
was gone. Insane.
Yeah, we gotta have you both on. We got Connor on. Me and Connor did a lot of content together. So we gotta get you on now that you're back. When do you guys start school? You guys still have like another while, right? Like
September 3rd. So sometime, about a month.
Like I'm not. They start school in like 2 weeks. Yeah.
Yeah, but they get out in like May or something.
They get out Memorial Day. Yeah.
I'm after Labor Day, Gary.
What was that?
Yeah,
I know.
Labor Day.
I know. I went to Hofstra. I remember school started super late. Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right. So this is like we knew this was gonna be an interesting offseason because no one had any idea what Cam Thomas was worth. Mm-hmm. Even if you think Cam Thomas is the third best player on a championship caliber team, he's worth $30 million. That's what the third best player on it. If you think about it, Bridges just got $37.5 million. He's the fourth or fifth best player on his team, on a championship contending team. $37.5 million. Are you telling me honestly that you think Mikal Bridges is more than twice as good as Cam? We saw Bridges. We had him here for a year and a half. We have Cam Thomas. Who's better, Connor and Josh?
I see. I think it depends. Like overall basketball player, I think Mikal Bridges is better.
What is it like? This is Josh. You want to weigh in on this? I don't want to poison the well here. What do you think?
Like I feel like he got praised for his defense when he went to the Knicks, and like it didn't show up until like the playoffs.
Good. Yeah, he gets bullied by big guards. Like Jaylen Brown.
I think it depends how you assess each player. Like I think Cam Thomas is a way better scorer. If I'm looking to like, for example, who do you think would make a bigger impact on the Oklahoma City Thunder or the Cleveland Cavaliers or a team like that? Like, I think individually. I think individually, Mikal Bridges is overall a better fundamental basketball player than Cam Thomas.
All right, is he twice as? If he's $37.5 million, is he twice as good as Cam?
No.
This is like so. If you're Cam, you're looking at this and you're like, bro, come on. I played with Cam. I was getting double teamed. I played with Bridges. I was the one getting double teamed, not him.
I feel like the Knicks have been overpaying for him ever since the trade. I mean, they sent 5 firsts to get him, so clearly they have some sort of huge value for him.
Guys, get yourself a girl who loves you the way the Knicks love Mikal Bridges.
Or the way Sean Marks loves Nick Claxton.
They gave up 5 first-rounders and a swap, and then gave him $150 million. Alan sent me this right before it broke, right? And I'm reading this, and I'm thinking Miles Bridges. Like, there's no way Mikal Bridges got that kind of money. And then I looked up Miles Bridges, there was nothing on it. And then I got, like, the notification on my pop-up. I said, Mikal Bridges for you. Like, that's insane. So
it's crazy. But you see, like, we see flukes like this happen, Gary. Like, for example, Mikal Bridges getting traded for 5 first-round picks is absolutely unprecedented. That didn't reset the whole trade market for every single player. Like, we just see crazy deals like this, for example. Could Cam Thomas say, I'm holding out till I get $35 million a year? Sure he can. He's not getting $30 million a year anyway.
I mean, Desmond Bain, Magic, Memphis trade kind of followed in that footsteps a little bit, way overpaying for a guy that like could be potentially that second scoring option on that team.
Absolutely. What I'm saying is Mikal Bridges is the fourth option on a championship contending team, and he got $37 million. We just got Michael Porter Jr., who was the third or fourth best player on his team. He's making almost $40 million a year. That's kind of what the going rate is, right? So even if you think that's all, now I'm not saying Cam's going to get that. He's not, but like he's not going to sign the contract for $14 million. He's not going to sign it for $18 million. I don't think. Like if you gave him 2 years, $36 million, I don't think he's going to sign that.
Who's giving him a better deal?
Right now, no one. But he's going to play this year on a 1-year deal. I don't think it'll be a qualifying offer, right? Because then the Nets can't trade him.
You can't trade him.
They'll come to terms on some kind of 1-year deal, and he's going to try to play his way into a big. He's going to try to average 30 a game, shake all the his reputation as a ball hog. Try to shake all that. Try to do 30 and 5 on 46-36 shooting, and then test free agency next year and try to get his $25-30 million a year. I think he's the third best player on a contending team. If that's the case, then he's worth $30 million.
I don't think he's a starter on like the best team in the NBA. Like if you inserted him with the Cavaliers, if you inserted him with the Thunder, I don't think he's a starting player. Like I view him. You said Lou Williams, Gary. He's kind of like a Jordan Clarkson to me a bit in that sense, based on what he's
like
shown.
Clarkson, but he's better than Clarkson. Right? It's like saying Steph is like Dame. Okay, but Steph's better than Dame, right? Like you know what I'm saying?
How large is that margin when it comes to payday? I think is the biggest.
No, I agree. But what Clarkson just got bought out of a $16 million deal that he signed 3 years ago, right? So 3 years ago, he was assessed at $16 million a year. So gross that up. Now you're looking at a $20 million a year guy. And we're both agreeing that Cam's better than
Clarkson
similar,
Clarkson contributed though in a winning manner. For example, like he was a better piece on a winning team.
Mm-hmm.
The times we've seen Cam Thomas on a winning team, he's done nothing. To be fair, it was early in his career, and Jacques Vaughn didn't really know how to use him, and Steve Nash didn't really know how to use him. But we've seen Cam Thomas be the number one option on a bottom 5 team when it comes to roster talent in the NBA and average over 20 points per game. I don't think that's enough of a selling point to contenders to say, throw $25 million a year, $30 million a year at him.
What I would say about comparing a guy like Thomas to somebody like Bridges, who's on a championship contending win now team, is that I think that the Knicks front office is just going to try and throw money at these guys, keep this Nova squad together for as long as they can. I think it's completely ill-advised, and down the road, they'll look back when I personally don't think they'll win a championship. It's all crumbled apart, and the Nets own their future for the next 5 years. It doesn't make sense to me, but I think the Knicks are looking so short-term that the fact that we can sit here and talk about how much of an overpay this Bridges thing was, I think they're all right with it. But then to compare that to a team like the Nets, who know they're not going to win an NBA championship this year, who know they don't have the squad around a guy like Cam Thomas to contend, like it doesn't make sense to compare those two salaries when they're in completely different situations. And to be frank, like I think the Nets and the Knicks front offices are viewing paying these players in two like completely different mindsets.
I get it, but I'm just like looking at it from Cam's perspective. I'm better than these guys who are making more money than me, right?
Yeah.
And so you're gonna have like, even if it's not like, you gotta try to explain that to him, right? And his agent, if I was Cam, I would not sign. I would take a 1-year deal and try to get out of here. I would say I would play my ass off, shut my mouth, play every game, give it Mamba mentality every game, and then when we get there, when we get to the deadline, trade me to a playoff team. Let me go to the playoffs and let me show you that I'm Ginobili, that I can score no matter what. That double team me in the playoffs against the best defenders, I can still drop 20 and 25 minutes, right? If he can do that,
4 assists a game.
Then he'll get his contract.
4 assists last season.
4 or 5 assists in 25 games.
Yeah,
you can't evaluate a player fairly, I think, in a 25-game sample size.
Right.
Like we saw his scoring ability flash, and a lot of people. I like Cam Thomas too. A lot of people crap on his efficiency. If he was playing on a team like the Cavaliers or a team like the Thunder or a team like the Nuggets or a team like the Magic, even that are solid contending teams, his efficiency would go up a lot, because the reason his efficiency is so poor, Gary and Josh, is because the volume of shots he is taking is crazy, because he's the only one who could shoot.
JJ Redick talked about this, right? And JJ Redick was like, I had to worry about my percentages, right? Because that's what I was judged off of, right? And he said, whenever we were running down the shot clock, we just passed the ball to Crawford because he had no problem launching them up. He didn't care about his percentages. I'll launch that. So, like, they call them the grenade launchers. Like 3, 2, 1. Someone's got to put the ball up. Just give it to Cam. Cam will shoot it. That's why, like, a guy like that.
MPJ is going to help him, and I don't mean to cut you off there. I think
Yeah.
MPJ is going to, like, for example, convert this to the Jets. All the Jet fans out there. I think Braylon Allen getting used in the Jets' rushing attack is going to open up more opportunities for Breece Hall and put him in more valuable situations, kind of like how MPJ is going to open up opportunities for Cam Thomas. He's going to have another scorer to kick the ball out to, someone who he trusts with the ball in his hands, someone who is a proven, valuable shot maker in the modern-day NBA. I think that's really going to help him and his efficiencies overall.
No, it can't. Having another NBA scorer, a legitimate NBA scorer on your team, can't hurt, right? It can only help. So, yeah, it's going to open. If you look at Cam's true shooting, because he gets to the line so much and hits free throws at an 85% clip, his true shooting is really not that bad. His effective field goal percentage is not great, right? But if you factor in his true shooting, it's really not that bad because he gets to the line. And that's what, like we look at, like, guys, like, I'm not comparing him to Kobe and Iverson, but Kobe and Iverson had low field goal percentages for the same reason. But when you factor in their effective field goal, their true shooting, because they get to the line so much, his true shooting is like 57%. It's not that bad.
I like that he finishes through contact too. Like he's aggressive down low.
Yeah, he's built like a
That's my one thing with Jalen Brunson. Like people always talk about how great Jalen Brunson is. I'm like, he's not a physical player. He drives down low and he draws crazy fouls and can't finish through contact. Like I personally don't get the love with like Jalen Brunson. I understand it that he's he's led the New York Knicks to this crazy revival type run, a team that's been in the basement and doing nothing for the past decade plus. He's brought them to back notable moments to the Eastern Conference Finals. But like I don't think the gap between a player like Jalen Brunson and Cam Thomas is as significant as we think. Now, don't take that in the way that I'm saying Cam Thomas is just as good as a player as Jalen Brunson. I think Jalen Brunson's a more efficient shooter. I think Jalen Brunson's a better playmaker, a way better defender. I'm just saying, I just don't think the margin for a guy
would chill on Jalen Brunson. He's probably better defender than Cam Thomas, but it's really a distinction. I'm sure he's better. It really doesn't matter. He's a horrible defender. He gets cooked by everyone.
And he's a way better playmaker.
He's a better player. Yeah, he's better, right? Like I don't want to say this as a net fan because then I get Jalen Brunson, I think, is one of the best players in the league, right? Like, and the reason is because he keeps doing it in the playoffs. And I'm saying Cam needs that opportunity. That's why I would sign a 1-year deal and say, I'll sign this 1-year deal, trade me at the deadline, let me go to the playoffs, and let me show the world that I can still do this and that this isn't empty calories like this. I can do this against the best defenses in the world in the playoffs. If he can do that, he becomes really, really valuable.
The concern with Cam signing a 1-year deal that if I was his agent, I'd be concerned about. I'd say, Cam, you just played 25 games last year. You suffered major injuries. Your season was riddled with injury. Gary, he gets hurt on a 1-year deal. He's not getting anything next offseason. That's why I think like a 1-year deal, for example, say call it a 1-year, $13 million deal with a $15 million player option for the second year is like a dream for Cam Thomas.
All right, but check it out. Right now, you're offering me a 2-year deal for $14 million per. Next year, the cap goes up. The year that the cap goes up. So I'm going to take a 1-year deal for $15 million. Let's say that 1 year for 15. Okay, I'm going to play my ass off. Next year, if I would have taken the 2-year deal, I'd have a $14 million deal. If he gets hurt and plays 40 games or less, what's he going to get in free agency next year? 8 or 9 million?
5,
so
6. Like it depends what he does in those games.
He's still a bucket, right? He's not going to get less than I was going low 8 or 9. All right, let's say 8. So my down
5 to 11, probably in that 8 to 11 range.
It's right in the middle of that. Let's say 8. All right, so in his head, my floor is 8. I'll never get less than 8. Like he's at $5 million. Cam Thomas has more 40-point games in his career than Kawhi Leonard. Like he's played like 200 games. Like
I don't get it. I like Cam Thomas. He's undervalued in my opinion throughout the league.
He's got more 40-point games in his career than Tim Duncan has. Tim Duncan's one of the 10 greatest players ever who played for 20 seasons. It's like, this is wild how
Cam Thomas would
undervalued
score a 40-point game and not see the floor the next outing.
right? So, okay, but I'm doing math in my head. I'm Cam Thomas. So if I pass up on a $14 million deal and I get hurt, I'm going to sign somewhere else for $8 million. I cost myself $6 million. My downside is $6 million. If I go play and I do my thing and I show that I can score 20 points in 25 minutes in the playoffs, I now become a $25 to $30 million player. I get Quickly's contract. So my upside is $15 million. My downside is $6 million. I'm going to bet on myself.
Right. It's just that if he does get hurt again, that becomes a lingering issue that teams look at. But you're right, Gary, that, he takes this short deal. And I mentioned this with Connor before you joined the show. He takes this 1-2 year deal. He's entering his prime, if not in his prime, as long as he's healthy when that deal expires. So I think there's going to be a lot of teams ready and willing to pay him after that if he does stick with that short contract with the Nets.
Yeah, it does take you can't just put him on any team. Imagine him on Golden State, right? And he's trying to ISO and he's going into a triple package and he's trying to break it down. And Steph Curry is standing open on the wing. Like, bro, give me the ball. I'm Steph Curry, right? So I get he's not going to
help him grow as a player. Like if he went to Golden State and was like a sixth man or like the eighth guy on the third guy on the bench, second guy on the bench, like I think that would actually help him overall as a player. Like learn to play make, be a Darius Garland, be someone who doesn't average 25 points per game but averages 15 and 7 assists. Like that would I think that would help him as a player, and I think that's why MPJ is going to help him so much this year. Someone he trusts, someone he's able to kick the ball out to, someone else who needs to take a lot of shots. I think it's going to help him significantly.
I have a feeling he's going to end up somewhere else. I think he's played his last game as a Brooklyn Net. I do think he'll come to terms with the Nets, but he'll be traded as either part of a sign-in trade or be traded before the season starts. I think I like Cam. I got a Cam Thomas jersey. I'm a big Cam fan.
Yeah.
But they don't value him. And, I think someone else will. And I think that we're going to bring in Anthony Simons in that Claxton trade.
You have a couple possible destinations?
Worst contract. One of the worst contracts in recent years.
It's expiring, though.
Yeah, I know. I'm just saying in general, like... Yeah.
It's $27 million for Simons, and Cam Thomas is better than... This is what I'm saying, though. Like, if you're... And I know
Cam Thomas's production... compared to Simons the year that they were getting paid, eerily similar.
And if you look, like if I just said to you, we're down 4 points with 1 minute to go. You need to give one guy the ball, and we need buckets every possession. You can have either Anthony Simons or Cam Thomas. Who are you taking? Everyone in the sound of my voice is taking Cam Thomas. Like if you're saying Simons, who I like, you're lying, right? So. They both do one thing, and Cam Thomas does that one thing better. Clearly,
who else would you say you think is in that deal?
No, I think that's it. I think it's. I mean, you may have to work out some, but Claxton for Anthony Simons swap, it works.
And then how would so?
And then would be now giving we have Simons. So now we have. Now we're going to trade Cam Thomas for a bad salary.
Wait, so you're saying the Nets would give up Claxton and Cam Thomas and just get Anthony?
No.
So two separate trades.
Okay. Clax for Simon.
We would trade Claxton for Anthony Simons. Bring in Simon. So now Simon's our 2 guard. Yeah. And then in a separate trade, move Cam Thomas out for a salary dump and a pick.
What destinations you thinking?
This Jaden Ivey to Detroit, I really think there's legs to this.
Give me Ivey on a first. Through the roof.
That has legs. Like I think that might get done.
Because I don't even think whether even if the Nets present him with this big deal, does he want to stay in Brooklyn? Like, does he believe he can win here? Has these contract disputes completely spoiled his tenure?
It's one of those things. He's played his whole career here. I'm sure he'd like to stay here, but if someone offers you more, I ain't married to you. They don't even like me. You know what I'm saying? Like, he played his whole career. His teammates, his friends, his life is here. Is in New York. I don't want to move, but if you're going to offer me $5 million more a year, well, I'm going to take $5 million. You know what I'm saying? So
if you do Ivey for Thomas, take picks out of it. Ivey for Thomas, straight up.
I don't want to. I wouldn't do the trade at all. But I'm saying the Nets don't want Cam Thomas. So what are our options here? The options.
I wouldn't hate that deal.
I wouldn't hate it. I mean. in a bubble, if you're saying, Gary, you're the GM of the Nets for the foreseeable future, would you make this trade? No, I'm giving Cam Thomas 2 years, $40 million, 3 years, $60 million. I want him here. I want Cam Thomas here. I'm going to say 3 years, $60 million, right? Yeah. But
who's a better overall player?
I'm not the GM. Sean Marks is, and Sean Marks doesn't like him, right? Like if I was Joseph Tsai, I would have fired Sean Marks, but I'm not Joseph Tsai. So I like Sean Marks. So Marks is our GM. Like that's all there is to it.
Who's a better player? Jaden Ivey, all-around basketball player. Jaden Ivey or Cam Thomas?
Cam Thomas. I'm with you guys. I think Cam Thomas is good, but Marks doesn't think so.
I'd say Cam Thomas over Jaden Ivey. I just don't think I think Cam Thomas is a better scorer, and I don't think a way better scorer than Jaden Ivey is. And I just don't think the playmaking that Jaden Ivey brings to the table is significant enough for me to say that he overall is better than Cam Thomas. I think he's a better playmaker. I don't think he's a better shooter, but Cam Thomas' shooting overall outplays Jaden Ivey.
Here's how I look at it. Go ahead.
Go on, Gary.
Here's how I look at it. We're playing ball. We're choosing sides.
Yeah.
There's Cam Thomas over there, Jaden Ivey over there. Yes. You get to pick, Josh. Who are you taking? You're up.
I'm taking Cam Thomas. That's exactly what I was
Cam Thomas is better then, right? Like, you know what I'm saying?
And I agree. I agree.
Like we're having an expansion draft. I'm an unknown team. I'm taking Cam Thomas as that better player. The question is, is his reputation in Brooklyn, have we dug this hole deep enough to the point where it would just be easier to get rid of him, start fresh? With a guy that, while comparable, compare the two side by side, you're definitely taking Thomas, but it's just a question of is that relationship still strong enough?
Gary, we had this debate yesterday. Who's better player, Tyler Hero or Cam Thomas?
Cam Thomas.
No, I personally disagree.
Cam Thomas. Look, I don't really get the Hero's good. He was in a much better situation.
Efficient. Even for the shots he puts up, he's way more efficient. He's a better defender. He's a way better playmaker. And his role impacts the Heat more than Cam Thomas's role impacts a championship.
You're talking about a Hall of Fame legendary coach in that system that he gets to play in, right?
I'm talking player by player.
You take him out of that system and you put him in the Nets system with the players on the Nets and the Nets offensive scheme. You think he's putting up those numbers?
It's a completely different role, though. Do you think if you put Cam Thomas on the Cleveland Cavaliers, he's averaging 25 points per game?
No, but if you put him on the Heat, he is.
I don't know if Cam Thomas is averaging 25 points on the Heat.
Tyler Hero's game really is absent a mid-range game. He can score from the outside. He can score at the basket. Cam Thomas is one of the unique guys. There's really only 10 guys in the world that can do it. Anywhere from the logo to the basket and everywhere in between, Cam Thomas can score the ball. Anthony Simons can't do that. Tyler Hero can't do that. Giannis can't do that. Zion Williamson can't. There are great players who can't do that, right? Yeah. That's why I love guys like McGrady and Carmelo back. And I know it's probably before your time, but they can score from anywhere at any point. Give him the ball, he can score a basket. Cam's one of those guys.
Oren says irrelevant argument because I don't want Tyler Hero either.
But I think Tyler Hero is a little bit overrated. I do.
Gary, I couldn't at this whole start of this Cam Thomas discussion, when it was the beginning of the offseason, and I promised the listeners on this channel there was a 90% or so chance Cam Thomas was a Net next year. Don't worry about anything.
I thought it was going to be the first move of the offseason.
Yeah, no one else has the capacity to pay him. Sean Marks gets it done quick, out of the way. We start worrying about the summer league, and it's become this whole saga. But Gary, to your point, what I was saying was he's one of the few guys in the league. Give him the ball anywhere on the court, any time of the game. Cam Thomas can get you that bucket. Albeit he might not be the most efficient scorer in the world, but can you really blame him when Jordy Fernandez and that coaching staff probably told him, shoot your shots, man. There's no one behind you to take better quality shots.
The question I come back
even if he's not scoring at that high clip, maybe it's because that coaching staff kept wanting him to shoot the ball.
The question I keep coming back to when people say 4 years, 3 years is how much of a winning piece is he truly? That's the question. What role does he play on a Brooklyn Nets team that aspires to make a championship run at some point over the next 5 years with all this draft capital, with all these draft picks that you have? That's what I've been saying. 2 years, $28 million, I think is given the market. I think another thing too, Gary, is look at the restricted free agents too, the other restricted free agents. Neither of them, not even neither, all of them aren't getting anywhere near what they want, but whether it's Josh Giddey, who's asking for who's asking for his money. Jonathan Kuminga asking for $20-25 million a year. Quentin Grimes, all these guys, they're not getting what they want.
Yeah.
No, the money's not there, right? It's like, I don't want to do what the Knicks did, right? The Knicks just gave, they just gave Bridges whatever he wanted to make sure they weren't competing. There's nobody else that said, I'm going to give him $36 million, right? There was nobody else. Why did you do that? Like, it's like going into a car dealership and the car has a sticker on it that says $40,000. You're like, can I give you $100,000 for that car?
No.
What do you think the car salesman is going to say? No, don't do that. I don't want to just overpay Cam for the sake of overpaying him. I don't want to overpay Cam because we overpaid Claxton. But I do want him here. So what number do I have to give you that's going to keep you here for 3 years? Because I want to show you that you're part of what we're building. To me, when they took Yegor, it showed me, okay, Yegor kind of covers up Cam's warts and vice versa. So I was like, okay, this is going to work. Like, they're going to try to build around Cam. And then they took 3 more guards. I said, okay, they have no interest in keeping Cam Thomas. All right, that's out the window. All right.
You mentioned the 3 guards there. I kind of want to pivot off Cam Thomas. And again, all you guys in the chat, see you guys throwing all your questions, comments, thoughts. We're going to continue to get to those throughout the remainder of the show. What role does Yegor play on this team? Because we had more people come in the chat yesterday. I think he could be a small forward. We saw that in Summer League, kind of him play more of that role as a catch and shoot threat compared to the guy who's taking the ball up the floor. Nolan Traore kind of fit that bill more throughout Summer League. What role do these rookies play this year?
This is what's scaring me because I thought Yegor, they took him early, but the same with the Jets taking Arian Smith. I don't mind the pick. Right? Like, I think he can be really good. If he can shoot, he can be really good. I know they overpicked him and they probably could have traded down to 13 and got him there.
Yeah.
But I like the pick. I think he's a good player. What I don't want to see them do is what they're going to do, which is make him a wing, a secondary ball handler wing. That's like saying, I got Lamar Jackson and I'm just going to use him as a pocket passer. He could probably do that, but like, you've just crippled what makes him special. He's a 6'9" point guard. Why don't you know what I'm saying? He's going to create mismatches everywhere. Why are you taking him off and putting him out?
Presence in the post as well. If you develop him into more of a physical threat.
You imagine you're playing Atlanta and he puts Trae Young in a post. Trae Young's cooked. You got to double. You got to send help immediately, right? So now I got my shooters open. But that's what they're going to do. Is they're going to start.
It's like drafting. It's like trading for Trae Young and having him post up down low in the paint every single possession.
Yeah,
I said it. Doing this.
I said it on yesterday's show, Gary. Like, you don't. First of all, I thought the Dioman pick was a reach. You don't spend that high of a pick with the number 8 selection in the NBA draft, and then just not use the number 1 trait you selected him for to be the primary ball handler to assist. Like, if you're going to get him, take him there. And move him to the 3. First of all, you don't get him at 8. Second of all, what the hell's the point of getting that guy? Like, you can get shooting. Dioman just feels like if he's not the primary ball handler bringing it up the court, what the heck was the point of the pick?
I thought you could have traded 19 and 22 to get back down to 13.
Yes.
At 8, you could have taken Maluak. At 13, you could have took Yegor. At 26, if you love Drake Powell, he was going to fall to you at 26.
Yep.
And then you could have walked away with Drake Powell and Wolf, and that would have been your draft class. You would have had Maluak, Demon, Drake Powell, and Wolf.
Yeah.
You could have. That's way better than what you have now.
Hypotheticals, but I've burnt out of them with the Nets because
I hear you.
It's never gonna happen. Like, for the Jets, for example, I was pounding the table for Nick Folk since March. I was writing about it a ton for JetX, and they finally did it 2 days ago whenever they sent him. So, like, that's a sigh of relief. Can the Nets just do something we're talking about for once? I mean, I see all these people on Twitter putting stuff in the – now that I've been doing this podcast for about a month now, it's like I've been locked in on Nets Twitter, and it comes across my timeline all the time. So I see select users who just put out mock trades in the trade machine on Fanspo every day, and it's like, dude, I love the idea, but we know Sean Marks isn't doing that.
Speaking of Nick Folk, let me tell you, my wife knows his wife.
I heard you say it on Jake's show.
You heard the story? Yeah.
On the bathroom.
They live near us. They did when the kids were little because he came up with the Cowboys, and I guess they just stayed here.
Yeah. He's been kicking longer than I've been alive. So
that's crazy. He's 41. He's the same age as me.
He just turned 40.
Just turned 40. Okay.
He's still led the league in field goal percentage over the past 2 years on a football note. So he's still
you can kick a football. You can have a long career in the NFL.
He kicked the Jets into their last playoff win.
Gary, Nolan
Yeah.
Traore, polarizing pick. I know there were a lot of talks of him being a top 5 guy. You said you didn't see it. What'd you see out of him in Summer League? Does he start? You said you don't think Cam Thomas on this team. Is Nolan Traore in the Nets starting lineup?
I maybe not day 1, but I would say by game 20 or 30, he's the starting point guard. We'll say
Yegor's a small forward.
Yegor's a small forward.
So who's your shooting guard?
Well, that's the $1 million question, right? Anthony Simons, I would say, but we'll say
Anthony
Cam
Simons.
Thomas until Cam Thomas is no longer associated with the Brooklyn Nets. My hunch is Anthony Simons is going to be the starting 2 guard. So you're going to have Traore at the point, Simons at the 2, and then at the 3 you have Yegor, and at the 4 Michael Porter, and at the 5 Sharp or Wolf. Or
mine's more chalk. Mine's Yegor, Cam. The 3 is always tough. Like you could go with so many different directions. I think come game 40, Dariq Whitehead is the starting small forward if he's healthy on this team. You can go Jalen Wilson. I go Zaire Williams, the guy who was the Iron Man on this team, who played all 5 positions at a point last season, which was unheard of. Biggest thing for Zaire showed last year why he was a lottery pick. He showed his lottery talent, why he was selected that high ultimately in the draft. It's the biggest thing for him beyond the arc, defensively, in the paint, everything. Consistency. If Zaire's able to stay consistent, I think he's going to be a pretty significant role player on this team.
Use that wingspan to his advantage.
I'm a Zaire fan. Like, he really showed me something. Like, I said, I was shocked that they got him on the contract that they did, because if I'm a playoff team, he probably doesn't start for me as a playoff team, but he absolutely has rotational minutes. He can do the 2 things you want a bench player to do. He can hit the corner 3, and he can defend multiple positions. Like, to me, there's not the Knicks would love to have him. Orlando, Detroit, Denver, they would all love to have him. That's why I was shocked that he got the contract that he did, $6 million. I was shocked at that.
And honestly, I'm sure the thought process with that, whenever someone hears on the Nets that a player has trade value, trade him for capital, trade him for picks. Like, at this point, I am honestly so tired of hearing people say, trade this guy for a first-round pick. Because at this point, the Nets have compiled so many first-round picks. Like, what is another first-round pick at this point?
I agree. Picks are overkill right now. It's like, we got enough picks. Like, let's get some players in here.
Absolutely. Like, at this point, what's another first-round pick? You have 37 picks over the next 7 years. What is another first-round pick really doing for you?
We did not need 5 first-round selections.
Yeah. 5 first-round picks this year. I think that set everything back because, like, the roster is so cutthroat now. The roster is still no spots up for grabs. Still, you have to gain a lot of rotational minutes. Gary, do you think – I mean, I know you said you think Caleb Daniels, based on who played the best in Summer League, deserves the 2-way most. I'm still giving it to Grant Nelson. Like, and Grant Nelson didn't impress me one tiny bit. You roll with the upside, though, any day of the week, in my opinion.
Yeah. I love Caleb Daniels' hustle, and he was able to hit some shots. But, like, what's the upside on him? What's his upside's Keon Johnson? You know what I'm saying? Like,
28% from 3. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I loved him, and I spotted him that first Summer League game. I guess Grant Nelson. We don't have to give it to someone from our Summer League roster. We can give it to someone else. Like, we don't have to. I still love Amari Bailey, who we traded for Drew Timme last year in a G League trade. I would do that.
I always get Amari Bailey and Armani Brooks. Yeah, I liked Armani Brooks. Like, he was. I thought he was a faster, better Tyrese Martin.
Is Tyrese Martin going to be a part of this team? Like, who's going? They can't keep all 3 of them, right? So one of them has to go, right?
So I think among the 4 guys, just team options they picked up, Tyrese is gone, and that's it. I think they keep 3.
Jalen Wilson stays?
Yeah. How many games does he play in the NBA is one question, but I think he's on this team.
All right.
I think same question with Nelson. Even if he does get that 2-way contract, I don't expect him to be up much.
Yeah, I mean, is he a 4? He's a 4, I would guess, right? He's a 4?
Yeah, but like
lengthy,
Needs
athletic.
athleticism.
He's athletic.
Yeah.
Like he
I mean, who do you
Would
want?
use
You want
more.
Wolf off the court? You want Zaire off the court? You want
Jimmy
Tommy?
Wolf off the court. I mean, he looked like the end of the
Obama?
summer league. He picked it up, but like the beginning of the summer league, he looked like he had two left feet. He had no clue what he was doing on the floor. He's going to spend a lot of the time in Long Island. The two
You said Tosan? That's what you said?
Wolf.
Wolf. Oh, Wolf. Okay.
Tosan
Yeah.
should go nowhere near the Nets court this year.
Tosan from Walmart.
Just bagging groceries at Walmart. That's all he should be doing.
Oh, I hate the fact that he's a Brooklyn Net. Get him out of here.
Killian Hayes. Where was he, Gary? Is he still available?
Killian Hayes is on Long Island. Yeah.
He's still on Long Island. I thought he was a free agent.
I'm pretty sure he's still
I think they
on
only had him through the end of last season.
Yeah. I don't think
It was 1 year, wasn't it?
Oh, it says he's for the Long Island Nets. It looks like, yeah, he's coming back to Long Island this season.
I would give him a two-way. Like, why not? I mean, I guess.
Yeah, that's true.
Dude, he's still 24
We
as
need,
well.
we need another point guard. We don't have enough.
What was he? Seventh overall pick, 24 years old.
I'd give him the second. Like I'd give him the second spot. The final two-way spot. I mean, who else? Grant Nelson. I was excited to see him. A lot of people spoke highly of him, and then I watched him. Like, nah, that's a hard pass for me.
At the same time, like Jalen Wilson was a summer league MVP, and there's a chance he's not on this roster. Like, I would want to see. Like, Grant Nelson's a guy I think we could see some of in the preseason.
The other guy we've never talked about is Dariq Whitehead. What's his role this year?
You
got to get him some.
Yeah, Whitehead's an interesting one because first round pick, haven't seen much of him due to injury. Requested to go down to Long Island last year. Excuse me. It's put up or shut up for him. I'm prioritizing minutes from Dariq Whitehead over Terrence Mann. I want to see a lot out of Whitehead this year. I think you got to get him some run early so he can truly establish an identity. What is he? Because we don't know who Dariq Whitehead is right now.
That's what I'm saying. We took him in the first round. He's got to get him some burn. He shot the ball well last year, but in a very, very limited amount of time.
I think in like 12 games he shot the three ball 44.6%.
I know.
So that's nothing to use as the Bible for what Dariq Whitehead's career is going to look like, but certainly a promising sign out of the get-go.
You need to get him some run. He needs to stay on the court. Like, we've seen nothing from him yet at the NBA level, so he's still got everything in the world to prove from his end of things. So for him, yeah, you're right, Connor. This is it. If it's not this year, it's no year. I don't think he's ever in the NBA again if it doesn't work out this year for the Nets. So he's got a ton to prove this year.
Gary?
No. Well, he's got 2 years left on his deal, but yeah, I mean,
right. But why?
I hear you.
If it doesn't work out this year, like, you got to be done with him.
I think they got to give him minutes. Like this is what I said about Malachi Corley too. It's like before we write him off, can we put him in a game and see? You know what I'm saying? Like I don't want to write him off before he was given a shot. Like maybe he sucks. I don't know. Maybe he's the worst player ever. I don't know. Sean Marks' history, he might be, but like let's. He was the number 1 or number 2 player in his high school class when he went to Duke. Like before we write him off, let's give him a shot. If he sucks, he sucks. Like, okay, it was an experimental year anyway, but at least we have an answer.
Yeah, there's upside with both of them. I would say the difference with Corley was that, I mean, it just seemed like last coaching staff hated him. Like, I'm excited to see what he can do this year, but I think both of them have a very short leash in terms of, like, if you don't start producing soon, you never produce.
What do they do with Terrence Mann, Gary? That's the other.
I just thought, like, he's from Brooklyn. When he got traded here, he was so excited, glad to be home, and then he deleted all his Brooklyn that stuff like 15 minutes later. Because I thought he was getting traded. I thought he'd be gone. Like we'd get some more twos for him or something. Like he's got.
Like you just turn around and go again.
Well, I mean, when they took him in, it didn't make any sense other than getting the pick, right? Yeah. So, all right, he's got some value. We'll take on a contract, and then we'll get some twos for him. But I don't know. Like, he's still here. I don't know if they plan on using him. I think he's a decent offensive player, but I don't want to see him getting minutes over Whitehead because there's no sense. Terrence Mann's like 28 years old. You know what he is.
Exactly what I said yesterday. Terrence Mann could be a rotational player on a team, sure.
Sure.
I prioritize first-round pick Derek Whitehead over 28-year-old Terrence Mann.
Gary, back to your point, like when they brought him in, did they even imagine him playing a game for them? Did they think they would turn around and flip him? The thing I would say about Mann is, yes, I think he could be solid off the bench. Yes, I think he's a solid rotational guy. You give him some run and you trade him at the deadline. Like, as long as someone else is willing to take on that salary, he's out of here immediately. I just don't think there's any reason Sean Marks would want to keep him around for the long haul.
Yeah, Marks is going to keep him up until the deadline, and he's going to trade him for 2 2s and a bad contract. And he's going to play, and he's going to help us, and it's like, it's fine. But like every day he's here, he's costing you value. I don't know what you can get for him, but trade him now.
Almost like what Dorian Finney-Smith was on this team last year.
Yeah,
I think if you could get if you can trade Terrence Mann and a second-round pick to get a second back, I'd be okay with that. Like, at
so
this
you
point,
just want to get him off.
I just want him off the team. Like,
give me an expiring deal and a second-round pick or 2, and he's yours. Yeah.
Terry Rozier, that's a guy in an expiring deal, someone like that. Or
there you go, Terry. He was good once upon a time.
He even had like a mid-career revival.
Yeah, I was gonna say, how old is Terry Rozier?
32, I'd say. He's old. Let's see, how old is Terry Rozier? I'd say about 31.
31, yeah.
Okay, 10, 3, and 2 last year. 39% from the field, expiring deal. Good tank piece.
That's right. I would take him, and I would buy him out. Someone will pick him up.
I mean, could you buy Terrence Mann out? Or
well, he's got too much time. I mean, in theory, you could, but he's got too much time left on his contract, right? I mean,
that would be a cap. You'd have to do cap gymnastics for that. This new CBA is a joke. It's like everything is complication times a trillion because of like I've just been finding myself with like all these terms, like looking at it with all the cap terms. Like I'll just go into ChatGPT and be like, explain this to me like I'm a 5-year-old learning about basketball for the first time, because it's like the aprons with all the mid-level cap exceptions. Now it's so complicated.
Yeah, you got to balance out the salaries even when you're trading picks. It's
absolutely.
So Terrence Mann is making $15 million a year, and then until 27, 28. So he's got 3 years on that deal at $15 million per. I mean, it's an overpay. But that's what I'm saying. You're going to pay Terrence Mann more than you're going to pay Cam Thomas? Like, it's crazy.
Yeah.
That's
a bad contract, too. But, like, you could point to the Raptors are paying Emmanuel quickly 5 years, $185 million, too. Like, they're – Quickly was not
and
even –
that's what he's looking at. That's what he's looking at. He's saying, I want that.
Yeah, but it's a play. The Nets would Nets and any other team would laugh at his face too. So the teams have leverage here as well.
So that's why Cam just needs to try to get himself on a playoff team and show that he can. That's what Terrence Mann did. That's how Terrence Mann got this contract. He played for the Clippers in the playoffs and scored a bunch of points.
Yeah,
and got a contract out of it.
So
you can score in the playoffs. You can show you can do that. Someone's going to pay you because it's necessary.
He's just got to prove that he can shoot like he did in Brooklyn with all their number 1 caliber options around him, which is still yet to be seen.
Gary, who do you think is going to lead the team in points per game this year?
I got to know who's on the team. I mean, Michael Porter Jr. Like if we had a book, I would, like a gambling book. I would say Michael Porter Jr. would be the betting favorite because it's safe. I think he's going to have a year where he averages 24 and 8. So I'm going to say Michael Porter Jr.
24 and 8. What about you, Josh?
I would say CT. They bring him back, and Michael Porter Jr. is by his side, and he can kick it to the corner if he needs. But I think he's still going to have that him first mentality, attack on his defenders, and I think he's going to keep shooting, trying to shoot his way into that new contract.
I think Cam Thomas comes back. He averages 22, 23 points per game. I think MPJ is right about the 20, 21 points per game range. But I think MPJ is more efficient as a shooter and is a better rebounder.
So by standing alone here is the only one that thinks Cam Thomas is gone. You guys think he's going to be back?
I think he's back.
No one can show me a team that has enough cap space to truly pay Cam Thomas and would make sense as a suitor and is true interest in him.
Yeah,
I think it's end up being a trade. I think we're going to take back a bad contract and get a pick out of it.
But who? Like who wants
Detroit. I think that the him for Ivy thing's got legs to it. I really do. Like Detroit was interested in him last year. We weren't interested in trading him last year. Like I think him to Detroit, it makes a lot of sense. I think him and Cade Cunningham is a really good backcourt. Like Cade Cunningham can guard the twos and he can guard the ones. Cade Cunningham is the playmaker.
But like, Cam Thomas isn't an upgrade for them. Compared, like Cam Thomas, for an example, like Cam Thomas compared to Jaden Ivey, like why would the Nets want to make that trade? For example, like why? How much of a difference does Cam Thomas really make compared to Jaden Ivey? Assuming they also have to ship off a first round pick as well.
I think it's considerable. I think
keep the pick in mind too. Like you wouldn't just get Cam Thomas straight up for Jaden Ivey. The Nets would ask for a first round pick or two. So then they have to weigh. The Pistons have to weigh. Do we want Cam Thomas on whatever contract this is going to look like, or do we want to give up potentially multiple first round picks, or just keep it with Jaden Ivey, who's been on this team for 3 years, has pretty much done everything we've asked them to do? That's the question they have to ask themselves.
It makes sense for Cam and Detroit, but Sean Marks doesn't get enough back to the point where he says yes to this deal. Cam, I think deep down in his heart, would rather be on Detroit, would rather be in a top 5 seed in the East. Obviously,
I disagree. I think he wants to stay in Brooklyn. I think he wants to stay in Brooklyn. I don't think the Nets
rather than be the number 2 option on a team that was
I don't think he'd be
beating the Knicks.
I don't think he'd be the number 2 option. I think I view Cade Cunningham and Jalen Duran as those 2 guys who pretty much run the show there. And in Detroit, I think he wants to stay in Brooklyn. I don't think the Nets want him in Brooklyn. That's the disconnect here.
I agree. And look, I don't know if you guys have ever been to Detroit. If you ever get the chance to go to Detroit, don't. It's probably the worst place on earth.
Worse than Baltimore.
Oh, yeah. Baltimore's at least got some seating. Baltimore's not that bad until the sun goes down. If you go to Baltimore at 3:00 in the afternoon, it's a nice place.
I've been to Baltimore before.
The stadium is nice. It's a nice place. You go to Detroit and you just want to leave. This is just depressing. Everything is shut down. You drive for blocks, Connor. Think about blocks in Brooklyn, right? And all the row homes, they're all boarded up. No one lives there. It's just depressing. The buildings are all abandoned and rotting to the ground. Detroit's, and then there's nothing there. There's no vibe to the city. It's just everyone there hates their lives.
Motor City.
Do not go to Detroit.
What's better?
I really think it's the worst place on earth. I really do.
What is there more to do in Oklahoma City or Detroit?
Oh God. Wow.
Or Oakland.
Oklahoma City's not depressing like Detroit. Right, this just sucks. Oklahoma City is just there's nothing there. What do we do? Oklahoma City, nothing. Detroit's worse than Oklahoma City. If you say, Gary, you have to live in either OKC or Detroit, I'm going to take OKC because at least it's not the most depressing thing you'd ever seen.
It's also a little safer, I'm assuming. Then
probably that too. Yeah.
Absolutely. Appreciate you all joining us right here on the Brooklyn Boys Show. Connor Long, Josh Woolever, joined by the host of the BK Nothing But Nets podcast, the great Gary. Again, appreciate you joining in. Questions, comments, thoughts, throw those in the chat. Keep hitting the like button. Keep hitting subscribe. Subscribe to Gary's great channel, the BK Nothing But Nets podcast. He does such great work over there. So certainly give him a follow. Claude says at least the Knicks are getting something from Mikal. He's a rotational player. Cy paid over $300 million in luxury taxes for the Big 3 acquisition and ended up in catastrophe. Josh?
Yeah, I just think that the Knicks, back to Gary's point, they were outbidding themselves. It's I don't know if you've ever seen that. I forget what the kids movie is. It's where there's that big giant and they're stuck in the video game and they're trying to bid out for it. And the first guy goes $1 and the next he matches with $1,010. It's so stupid. It feels like the Knicks are competing with themselves for who can give Mikal Bridges the most money. I heard 0 people or nothing from the other 29 fan bases regarding bringing in Mikal Bridges, and the Knicks throw all this money at him. It feels so confusing, and don't even get me started on the Big 3. The way that all crumbled down, at least Sean Marks recovered.
Cam Thomas.
I just don't know what the Knicks think they have in Bridges. I don't get it. Right?
Role player.
I don't.
Cam Johnson, a more athletic Cam Johnson.
I guess who doesn't shoot as well. Like
Yeah.
I just Bridges came here and he played well in that half a season that they had him. It's like, all right. And then like he was asked to be the guy, in 23, 24, I guess it was. It's like, no, this is not the way. This is not the one.
Cam Thomas has an overinflated view of his worth. The market decide what a player is worth, not the fans. Bingo. And I think that's why, Cam Thomas, I don't think wants a 4-year cheap deal with Brooklyn. He wants to be a free agent when it's a good year to be a free agent for a player. This isn't one of those years.
Agreed. And that's why I think he should take a 1-year deal. I think he will take a 1-year deal. And the Nets are going to try to trade him as soon as possible. And he should just go out there and, just summons your inner Kobe, play every game like it's your last, go out there, cook, score 30 a night, try to get as many assists as you can, and then get into the playoffs, and then just have the run of your life. If you do that, you're going to get paid.
I disagree that Sean Marks trades him immediately. I think it's more of a 2-year, still middle-of-the-road contract. I think he plays it out in Brooklyn, and then he hits the unrestricted free agent market, looking for as much money as he can get. But from his perspective, do we think he wants to play, like to sign this 1-year cheapish deal in Brooklyn and then immediately get traded out? Like, do you think that if he plays 2 years on this team where the only other guy, at least for now, in true contention?
Uh-oh.
We're back. Don't worry. I literally just scrolled on my mouse and I realized I completely switched off.
Oh, I've done that.
Yeah, it is not fun. Continue what you were saying.
I was saying, 2-year middle of the road salary. He plays it out. I think he Gary, like you said, plays every game like he's his last. And even though it's the fact that he's not on a championship winning team immediately, he proves what he's worth being the number one guy and being one of the only 2 guys in contention for Brooklyn's, the scoring champ, at least for the Nets perspective. I think he plays it out in Brooklyn for 2 full years, then hits the unrestricted free agent market, looking for as much money as he can get as he's in his prime.
2 years from now, he'll be going into his 26th season, right? Like it's the perfect time for him to walk into that year. I agree. I just think like Sean Marks doesn't like him. And, I think once he's no longer on the Brooklyn Nets, I think like everything's going to hit the fan. Like he's going to come out. The Nets are going to have some words about him, and he's going to have some words about the Brooklyn Nets. I think the situation is just, it's getting ugly.
You think it's that toxic? Do you think there's a huge demand for him at the deadline?
I mean, there's going to, like, again, he's a fit on certain teams. Like I said, like Golden State, we'll look at him like, no, he cannot play on the court with Steph Curry. Right? Same thing with the Knicks. No, he cannot be on the court with Brunson. But I think there are enough teams that Detroit, Denver, Orlando. I'd say, yeah.
Hawks after losing Dame, possibly.
The Hawks could use him, I think. Can he play with Trae Young? I mean, that would be really bad defensively, like really bad. I don't know. Yeah. I mean, he can play with Dyson Daniels. Right.
What about Phoenix? Could he work with Devin Booker?
I don't know what Phoenix is doing, man. I don't know. I don't know what Phoenix is doing.
Absolutely. Oren says 40-point games on a shitty Nets squad means nothing. All losses, by the way. Thoughts there, guys?
All right, you score 40. You make it sound like it's easy. You score 40.
Yeah.
Like, scoring 40, that's a ton of points.
Even with a bad supporting cast.
Exactly. Like, what do you think it's harder? Do you think it's harder to score 40 on a team that's contending for the NBA Finals, or to score 40 on the worst team in the NBA?
Worst team in the NBA. Worst team in the NBA.
I agree. The scouting report's you.
You are the scout. Yeah, you're the scouting report.
You're all that team's thinking about.
I would disagree. I would say when you have 5 other guys around you who are better and as capable, if not more capable, to put the ball in the net, the plays aren't going to be designed for you. Yes, you might get that open one-on-one ISO with a not as good defender, but I think the need to spread the ball elsewhere is just going to make that trickier rather than on a team that you're the only option for.
Check it out though. So if it's me, Connor, Josh, and Cam Thomas, who are they defending?
Nah.
All 4 guys, right? now he's got to account for that. If it's Kobe Bryant, Steph Curry, and Giannis,
then Cam Thomas is putting up 5
now you got to
shots in
account
the
for
game.
everybody.
Then Cam Thomas is putting up 5 shots in the game.
Well, not if he's cooking. If he's cooking, they're still going to give him the ball. And now you can't sell out. I'm not
double teams are going to go to Kobe.
You can't sell out on those guys.
Double teams are going to go to Kobe. Double teams are going to go to Giannis, and that's going to open up opportunities for him to hit. Exactly.
Like, so you throw him on the Thunder, and you're telling me even if Cam Thomas, whatever, starts off hot, a solid 8-point first quarter, the rock is still going to Shea. The rock is still going to J-Dub. We're still hitting Chet down low. Like, even if Cam Thomas is off to a hot start, Rock's still getting spread around to this NBA Finals team.
Over the course of a season, 82 games, right? Like, he's going to have games where he's cooking, and they're just going to keep feeding him. When he's not cooking, then he's just not going to take any shots, right? But when he's on one of his heaters, you're not going to go away from him. When Cam Thomas is cooking, he's something to behold. You're not going to stop going to him, right? You just make his life easier because I can't double him. I can't sell out. I can't, I can't not guard Shea or Chet or William. I have to account for my guy at all times, so I can't really double. I can't blitz him. I can't blitz him on every pick and roll because he's leaving someone open. So, he's going to have more games where he scores 8 points, but he's going to also have more games where he scores 40.
This isn't an argument that needs to take up the whole show, but the last thing I'll say is that you're on the team with Gary, me, with Connor. Like, of course, we're not scoring anything, right? Of course, we're going to pass him the ball. So it just feels like when you're on a team filled with all-stars, like, why in the all-star game does no one ever score like 50 points? Like, I mean, maybe they do.
Now.
Well, because no one's like,
I think everybody
points tonight. I take it back. Because they scored 200 points tonight, someone's going to score 50. But my point is that when there's no one else to shoot the ball for you, I feel like it's I feel like you're just going to be able to keep chucking them up, even if you're not making a ton.
Reynolds, he's got more 40-point games with a Nets team that fed him the ball every play at the end of the season, where teams were low managing their best players and playing bench and two-way players.
Yeah.
40 points equals 40 points. Doesn't
40
matter.
points is a ton of points. That's so many points. Like, it's 10 points a quarter. That is such a hard thing to do.
I don't care what scenario you put it in. You're playing the worst team in the NBA. You're playing last year's Pistons. It doesn't matter. Like, you dropped 40. I don't know how you don't respect that performance.
Absolutely. Beeman boy, Cam to the Knicks.
For 6 first-round picks.
Give me 7. What a joke that trade was still. Reynolds, why would we trade Clax for Simons? We have way too many guards already on the roster.
That'd be without Cam.
Because Simons is on an expiring deal. And Clax really doesn't fit in what we're doing. Right? Clax can't defend fives. He's a pick and roll 5. He's a pick and roll center. We don't really play a lot of pick and roll basketball. That's not Jordy's offense. He doesn't really fit here. So, I mean, we're paying him a lot of money. The contract goes down every year. It's a tradable contract. He doesn't really fit in what we're doing. I don't see an upside in keeping him. And I think Day'Ron Sharpe is just better than him. So now we have Day'Ron making $6 million, who's better.
And you have a chance to develop Danny Wolf, so you can get that close to 7-foot paint presence if
I don't want to see him in Brooklyn for the first 20 games.
No, I agree. Danny Wolf is nowhere close to being NBA ready. But
and he's 21 years old.
Yeah, he's old, but you coordinate him, you get him in that paint, and he's starting to hit a couple threes. Like, him and Noah Clowney can mesh well as a 4-5.
They're too similar, in my opinion.
No, I think they would play into each other.
I think Claxton and Wolf, or Claxton and Sharp, would be the best combo. Clowney and Wolf are. Do you agree here, Gary? Clowney and Wolf are too much of shooters and too, I think, athletic. For example,
we're gonna see Clowney and Wolf because that's what Mark
likes. Yeah,
we're gonna see it. So we're not gonna have to wonder long how that looks together. We're gonna get to see it, I think, in relatively large doses.
Absolutely. Again, appreciate you all tuning in right on the show. Smash the like button, hit subscribe. On the road to 500 subscribers, we are currently at 407. So keep hitting subscribe. We're trying to get to 500 soon.
Yeah.
Trying to hit 1,000 by the season. I think we can do it. So keep hitting subscribe. Keep supporting the show.
And man, hit up Gary's channel too.
Absolutely. BK Nothing But Nets podcast there as well. Owen, come on, 3D Boxing. Nolan is fast as hell. What's not to like?
I didn't say I didn't like Nolan. I didn't say that. I think he's raw. I think he's obviously he's a blur out there. It's hard to stay in front of him, but he needs to learn how to finish at the hole. It was the same thing in the summer league. He'd blow past his man and then miss the layup. It's like, all right, like I don't think he's going to be 25 years old still missing layups. I think he'll finish.
That happened with Ben Saraf too.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
He's terrible.
Saraf and him can both get to the cup. It's just a matter of like I'm not a believer in Saraf personally. Connor, you mentioned what his upside could be, but especially after
Saraf and Wolf, I think were the two worst picks in this draft.
I disagree. I think Wolf is a good pick.
I didn't mind the Wolf pick when they made it. I actually kind of liked it. It just watched him in the summer league was not encouraging.
Yeah. I mean, you think a guy who was crying because he would fell.
Oh, that was bad. That was bad.
Would look to try to prove as to why teams passed up on him in the summer league and why it was a mistake.
I mean, take the summer league with a grain of salt. Victor Wembanyama in his first summer league game scored 7 on 3 of 12.
Yeah, but he at least looked like he knew what he was doing defensively.
Yeah,
he looked like a fish out of water.
I'm not comparing him to Victor Wembanyama. Believe me.
Claude, the Nets aren't qualified to poke fun at what other teams pay their players in light of the huge bundle they paid for the big three and got nothing in return. And the trade for Ben Simmons was atrocious, to say the least. What were your thoughts, Gary, on when that trade first transpired?
When they I didn't like the trade. I didn't want Ben Simmons here. I was never a big Ben Simmons guy, although I think he has value. Then after they made the trade, when you get off your emotions, start looking at logically, okay, they can play Simmons and Durant together. Simmons could be off the ball. He can play, on the post. He can, be in the dunker spot and be a secondary ball handler behind Kyrie. So, all right, this is going to take some creativity, but it could work. And then we never really got to see it with him, Kyrie, and KD. It never really. And then it obviously he didn't play much at all ever, so we never really got to see Ben Simmons. And at the time, I didn't like it. I grew to say, okay, let's try this. But then he never really got on the court. They never really got the three of them on the court together to really see how it was going to look. So it's just Ben Simmons is one of my least favorite human beings.
25-year-old with permanent back problems. I mean, and you look at what the Nets, I'm not comparing James Harden and KD in any way, but you look what the Nets got in return for Kevin Durant. 4 first-round picks off the bat. I don't know how, but Sean Marks woke up one day, dealt another part of that package of Mikal Bridges for 5 firsts. You just dealt Cam Johnson for another first and Michael Porter Jr. You look at what KD stemmed to, and you got you got 10 first-round picks basically, and you trade James Harden away for Ben Simmons, who what was it, probably I would guess 7/8 of his Nets tenure were spent in street clothes. So looking back in 2020 hindsight, one of the worst deals in Nets history.
Generational hater. We'll close with this one. What is the Nets plan for 2027? They don't own their pick, but will be fresh off a year of tanking, so probably won't be any good until 28 or 29. Thoughts here?
I mean, I would imagine they're going to go after the free agency market hard. We still haven't discussed if they don't sign Cam Thomas, or if Cam Thomas takes a qualifying offer. What do they do with the rest of their cap space? I got to do something with it, right? Our roster's already full. We don't have any open spots on our roster. Actually, we have too many spots.
Yeah,
and we still have millions of dollars that we have to spend.
They might just eat it.
They might just eat it. And what happens if you're below the salary floor? The money just gets distributed.
Yeah, everyone's going to get extra $1 million. It's like
no one's showing more.
Yeah, do we really need Keon Johnson making another $1 million? Does Tosan deserve a raise?
It's just evident to me that you're not trying, right? I'm not going to spend any of my cap money. It's
Take a look at this graphic posted by Nets Frequent. Look at this, Gary. Comparing Michael Porter Jr.'s contract to the likes of Mikal Bridges, who just re-upped with the Knicks today.
Yeah, there's no question about it that Porter's a better player than Bridges. There's no question about it.
Knicks fans won't tell you that.
I think it depends on. I don't think the Knicks fans in general. I'm sure you can find some that are. I don't think the Knicks fans in general like what they got out of Bridges last year.
I mean, Knicks fans also.
It was a game by game basis. One game in the playoffs, it was screw this guy, he lost this game, and then the next game was, oh my god, Mikal Bridges' defense sparked a win. It's like Knicks fans are almost as mood swingy, for lack of a better term, as Jet fans are. So, I mean, you could put those hand in hand in the same boat. So
I just didn't know what Knicks fans thought they were getting. When Knicks fans were so excited when they got him, you go back a year ago, like when they got him, they were so excited.
They won that trade.
Yeah, I remember.
The biggest thing of all time. I was talking to Knicks fans who are friends of mine. They were telling me how they won that trade, how the Knicks have locked up their NBA championship, adding Mikal Bridges. Like, you sure about that? Like, you're adding the 5th option on your team for 5 first-round picks, and that's what's going to put you over the hump? Like, it never added up to me at the time. It looks even worse in hindsight.
Like, so you got Bridges and Karl Anthony Towns, and you went from losing to Indiana in 7 games to losing to Indiana in 6 games. Well done. Good.
And then you fired your coach for it.
Yeah, and then you fired your coach. That's how good Bridges was. He got Thibodeau fired.
Absolutely. And I don't know if there are any in Texas. I hope there aren't. But in Brooklyn, there are people who call themselves Nets fans and then start rooting for the Knicks once the Nets are out in the playoffs.
I am not rooting for the Knicks. I do not root. Yeah,
I can't stand it. I can't stand it.
I don't even hate the Knicks. Like, I hate the Yankees. I don't hate the Knicks. But it's their fan base. Their fan base irks me.
Same with the Yankees.
No.
I hate the Yankees.
The Yankees fan base, I think, is the most toxic overall in all of sports. Like, everyone, I mean, 20, like Gary, these.
Hold the phone, Philadelphia Eagles.
To put it neck and neck. I mean, how many Yankee fans had to come up to me and complain about Juan Soto? It's like, we get it, you're just butthurt that you lost him, but it's like, I didn't even say anything to you about Juan Soto. You're just pissed that you lost the guy and you didn't pay him. It's like Yankee fans admit, oh, you guys overpaid for Juan Soto. Well, why did you offer him the same amount of money as the Mets did?
The Yankee fans are just, like, they're obsessed with, like, look, I'm old enough. As a kid, I watched Strawberry and Gooden. When Strawberry and Gooden went to the Yankees, I didn't say, oh, man, I hope they fail. I hate them so much. I was like, those guys, I like Strawberry and Gooden. I hope they do well. Like, the Yankee fans with Soto, they're obsessed with them. It's like, guys, relax. He's only on your team for 1 year. Gary? And he took you to a World Series. Like, why don't you just like the guy?
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us right here on the Brooklyn Boys Show. Smash the like button, hit subscribe. Another episode of the Brooklyn Boys Show in the books. Road to 500 subs. Keep hitting the like, keep hitting subscribe. Thank you so much for all the support. We're going to start doing call-ins starting next week. I know you guys, I know a lot of people have been asking about it, so we'll start to get you guys up on the screen. Appreciate you all joining us. Gary, thank you so much for hopping on with us. Share the show again, and final thoughts.
No, thanks for having me on, Connor and Josh. Appreciate you guys.
Of course. Channel again?
Oh, it's BK Nothing But Nets podcast. I'll be live tomorrow at 12:30 Eastern time with my co-host Dylan. We're probably gonna talk about this.
I took a 1 week break from Nets content. I said I'm gonna detach from 1 week. I made my return yesterday, and you're doing daily content too now, Gary. It's great to see the Nets community in full swing. Which is, if there was a dead period of the NBA, I think we'd categorize this as the dead period.
Yeah, we've gotten through. We're getting through this, and it'll be preseason and everything soon enough.
Ladies and gentlemen, he's Gary, the BK Nothing But Nets podcast. Josh, appreciate you coming over, doing an in-person pod. Final thoughts?
Loved it. Gary, thank you so much for joining us. Had a blast talking to you and Connor today. Hopefully Cam Thomas can re-sign, but another day that goes by, and the more I lose hope. So Sean Marks is Sean Marks, a very mysterious man. Thank you to both of you for making this episode so great. Smash that like, hit subscribe. We appreciate all your guys' support down in the chat. You truly make this all possible, so we really appreciate you all.
He's Gary, the BK Nothing But Nets podcast. He's my co-host, Josh Woolever. For Gary and Josh, I'm Connor Long, signing off right here on the Brooklyn Boys Show. Have a great rest of your evening, everyone. And as always, go Nets.